Okay, so this is going to be my sort of analysis on The Worn Path by Eudora Welty. It's basically my opinion on whether or not Phoenix's grandson is dead. And I'm just gonna start off by saying Welty published an article in response to a lot of letters that she got asking if the grandson was alive or dead. And she responded in the article saying that she wrote the story believing that the grandson was alive. Personally, I don't think that the reader is required to, align their views with the authors, because personally, I think there's enough evidence to make a case for the grandson actually being dead. And that's actually what I pretty much believe. That's what I think. I think that the grandson being dead kind of makes the story more interesting for me as a reader. That's just my personal opinion. And I think that I think the grandson is dead, but then I think that Phoenix believes he's still alive, mainly because I think she suffers from sort of like mental illness or insanity, basically. When the store clerk asked Phoenix about her grandson on page 1058, it says, this is a quote from the page, but Phoenix only waited and stared straight ahead, her face very solemn and withdrawn into rigidity. I think, while this reaction could have been due to her grandson's condition if he was alive, I think it's very possible that in some form or fashion, Phoenix knows he's dead somewhere in her subconscious. I think she knows that he's gone, and kind of brings me to more a deeper dive into the mental illness aspect of it. I think it's implied in the story that she's very old, so I think she could be suffering from being senile, and also suffering from the mental effects of her journey, her really tough journey that she's always going on. And I think another sign of this is her constant conversation with herself. I think that's kind of a clear sign. I know some people talk to themselves, but Phoenix is always making comments to herself, just talking out loud to nobody. And she also hallucinates, and she consciously treats them like they're real life. She interacts with her hallucinations. On page 1053, it says, she did not dare to close her eyes, and when a little boy brought her a plate with a slice of marble cake on it, she spoke to him. And so this kind of shows me, obviously, in the middle of a field, she didn't take a break, and then a boy came to her with a piece of cake and just gave it to her. Obviously, this wasn't real. She could have been dreaming, but it's also, the author also made a point to say that Phoenix didn't close her eyes. She didn't go to sleep, so she is awake and having this hallucination. And when the line says that she spoke to him, it's kind of just her acknowledging something that's not real, but she believes it's real. So that's kind of that. I thought that was a big sign of her mental illness, and I think this form of this type of illness could result in her believing that her grandson is still alive even long after his death. So it's kind of what I think. But really, a point that Eudora Welty made in her article that I actually really liked is really the fact of whether or not the grandson is dead doesn't actually matter. Whatever your opinion is, like, it doesn't affect the story. Whether he's alive or dead, Phoenix completes the journey, which is what the story's all about. It's like the grandson, alive or dead, doesn't change the fact that Eudora started the journey, she made the journey, and she got what she came for. So that was a point that I really liked. That kind of I don't know, it just shows that I think people get too caught up in whether or not the grandson is dead that they forget what the story is actually about. And I don't know, I really liked this point by Welty. It was interesting. That was 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Yo.